Welcome, brothers and sisters of the Discalced Carmelite secular order, to this 21st video in a series that I've been making over the last couple of months, covering the subject matter of a book that I wrote 12 years ago called Welcome to the Secular Order of the Discalced Carmelites. In the second chapter of that book, I talk about the profile, the identity of a secular order member. And the profile that I talk about, I use sort of as a gimmick to remember them by, as the 6 M's. It's easy to remember, 6 M's, six. First one, meditation. Second one, morning prayer, evening prayer. Third one, Mass. Fourth one, Mary. Today we reach the 5th of those M's, number 5, meetings. Now it might sound mundane or not very interesting spiritually speaking to talk about meetings, but there is a real spiritual importance to the meeting, real spiritual importance to belonging to a community in which people share the same goal and the same means to reaching that goal. There's a spiritual advantage to meetings, which is the foundation of all the other things that take place in meetings. But the foundation is spiritual. Let me explain. In the first part of this first chapter of the book that I wrote, I talked about its discernment, and I said, well, how do we first identify, and then from that identity, discern the vocation of those who belong to the secular order. And I said that a secular order is a practicing member of the Roman Catholic Church who, under the protection of Our Lady of Mount Carmel, and inspired by the teachings of Saint Teresa of Jesus and Saint John of the Cross, is moved to make a commitment to the order, to seek the face of God. Is moved to make a commitment. The commitment to the order is concrete. The commitment to the order is something not that exists only in the mind as intention, but it's an actual commitment to the order. How does the commitment to the order take place? My commitment to the order is not my committed directly to the order with its headquarters in Rome. I'm committed to the order through belonging to a community in the Commissariat of Indonesia. The nuns belong to a community. They make a commitment to live in that monastery for their whole lives. Secular order people make their commitment to the order by committing themselves to the members of the community that they join. We join our community because, as my novice master used to say for us, for the nuns, and I believe also for the seculars, is that we come together to learn how to be alone. The experience of loneliness is not the experience of being alone with God. St. Teresa's famous definition of prayer is mental prayer, in my opinion, is taking time, is dealing in friendship, taking time frequently to be alone with the one we know loves us. It's not to be alone; it's to be alone with. It's we're not hermits in the strict sense of the founders of the Carmelite tradition, who were hermits. They soon after their foundation, they evolved, they grew, and became committed to living together in community. And then they were identified by the church, and eventually they went to Europe. They were identified as mendicants. And in our mendicant tradition, we live in community and we practice our spirituality in community. Now, learning to be alone with We come together to learn how to be alone with God. It's not isolated. A person who's isolated is Spanish say ensimismado, is centered on himself. It's very sad. It's very difficult to relate with, to have a good understanding with people who are isolated. But we're not isolated. We're not looking to be isolated. But we need to learn how to be alone. The first way and the first reason for having a community, first reason for being in community, is that I need support of other people to be faithful every day to the goal of my vocation, of my life. Members of the secular order who have a vocation to live Discalced Carmelite spirituality cannot know it on their own as that some divine favor falls upon them. If you move to commit yourself to living the Discalced Carmelite spirituality, if you move to commit yourselves to follow this way, you need this example and support and company of other people. If I have to pray all by myself, there's too much danger of being lazy. It's very, very difficult sometimes to just be without community. When I'm in community, when I join together the community, I join together in prayer and saying the ibadah, the divine office. I join together in prayer by making mental prayer at a time when everybody else is making mental prayer. Now, secular order members come together for the time in the meeting so that they can support each other for the whole month or the whole week or the whole 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever time there is between meetings, so they can support each other to be faithful to meditation every day, to stay in the office. I know of many communities where there's people who go to Mass at the same place, at the same parish, or the monastery, the nuns, and recite the office together after Mass, or make a period of mental prayer together. They sit together in church to make a period of mental prayer. 30 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever they can do. We need to know. We go to a meeting and you see other people and they talk about the difficulty of praying. It supports us. We're not alone. We have company who are doing the same thing we are doing every day. So the commitment is, first of all, in its foundation, a spiritual commitment to meet with other people so that I can be faithful to what I do alone with God. Come together to learn how to be alone. Second reason, what I say, for the importance of meetings is psychological. And what I mean by that is that in discerning my vocation, discerning if I want to belong to a certain group, I have to examine myself and see, am I able to be a member? Just an ordinary member. Like I say with us, with the friars, am I able to be a brother to the people I live with? With the nuns, are they able to be sister to the people they live with? Are you, secular order members, are you able to be brothers and sisters to the people you meet with? Not that anyone has, the reason for being here is to be boss. In religious life, there's no boss. In a religious tradition of mendicants especially. In many provinces of the Discalced Carmelites right now, the friars have stopped calling each other father or brother. Everybody is friar, fry. In Portuguese, fra in Italian. Hermano, hermanos, los hermanos. Brothers, we are brothers. You are brothers and sisters to each other. Nobody has a vocation to be boss in religious life. That's the hierarchical structure. We don't have a hierarchical structure. We have superiors who are superior, and then after a while, no longer superior. I was superior for 3 terms. I was a provincial for 3 terms. Now, just a member of the community. In Oklahoma, I was provincial for 3 times. So I had a responsibility of leadership, but I didn't have a vocation to be the provincial. Nobody has vocation to be the president of the community. Nobody. Some people are asked at a certain time and for certain reasons to be the superior of a community. But then after 2 terms at the most, no change, you have to change unless you get permission, unless there's a special permission. Then you're not elected the 3rd time, you're appointed. We have, in building relationships in community, we mature as human people. Now this is very difficult for secular order members, I think. Why is it very difficult for secular order members? Well, in the first place, you are fathers and mothers in your family. And in your house, if you're the mother, you say what time meals are. You decide things. You make rules for your children. The father and mother make rules for the children. The father goes to work and comes back, and he's king of the castle. And the mother is the queen of the castle. So when all these kings and queens come together to form a community, sometimes there's a tendency to some people think that they're the boss, that they're in charge, or should be in charge. But the fundamental discernment that we have to do for ourselves and the fundamental commitment that we have to make to each other is to be brother or sister to the members of the community. The person who is, as they say in Spanish, disponibile, disponibilità in Italian, disposable, able to be of service, to the brothers and sisters in the community. Not able to be boss. And this is what happens sometimes. I've known some communities, I hope it doesn't happen too much anymore, but when I was first involved with the secular order 24 years ago on a worldwide level, because I hadn't experienced it in Oklahoma, among the communities of the province in Oklahoma, but I became aware of some places where the president was president 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. And or even worse, there was a person in the community who was not the president, but still everybody referred to that person as mother or prior. They had been, 20 years ago, they had been the superior. 20 years ago, they had been elected as president of the community. And they were for 1, 2, 3 times, but they still maintained control over the community. No, we don't. That's not the purpose of the community. We come together to be alone. We come together to learn how to be alone. We come together as brothers and sisters. We are all on the same journey. Some of us at different places, and some of us in community have different responsibilities. But then when we don't have those responsibilities, we don't have those responsibilities. So I ask you to consider, as these first 2 points, I think I'll have to talk some more about the purpose of community, but first to think of these 2 things. The spiritual necessity that I have for companionship. I have a necessity to have companionship. And I have a necessity also to be a companion. And the second point is the psychological point. That the way I learn how to relate to others in the community, the way I learn how to be responsible for my responsibilities, attending the meetings, reading the readings, studying the studies, the things I have to study, participating in the discussions. These things that commit ourselves to relationships with each other in the community. And the foundational relationship is as brothers and sisters, not as superiors and subjects. So the ability to be friends, the ability to be brother and sister. St. Teresa says in the beginning, the first words of the third chapter of the Way of Perfection, let us go back to the reason why God has called us together. God calls us together. God calls you together. Now think, God wants you to be present, to be a member of the same community as everybody else who's in the community, even the persons you might not like as much. There you are called still to be brother or sister to that person. Your friends, yes. But everybody who's in the community is there for a purpose, for God's purpose. This is video number 21. That's the beginning of the discussion. I think I have to, in the next video, continue to discuss about the importance of meetings in the life of a Discalced Carmelite. God bless you, and keep me in your prayers. Thank you.